So a subscriber tweeted at me the other day and was like, you need to check this game out. And I was like, well, I like trucks. I like going off-road. What's the worst that could happen? But anyways, guys, my name is Tomcat, and this is Trucks Off-Road, and this is my first impressions. I'd just like to start off by saying that this video is not at all supported or endorsed by Trucks Off-Road at all. This is more my straight-up opinions on it, and also my first impressions of literally getting my hands on the game today, downloading it onto my phone, firing it up, and literally just kind of, going through it and messing around with it for you guys. And really, the only thing I did in the game was I paid for the ads to be removed from the game, which is like $2. So with that being said, I feel like this game has a lot of substance to it, even for the fact that you can download the game for free and then just like pay a couple of bucks to remove the ads from it. Honestly, like I said, it seems like a pretty straightforward idea off the right off the bat. Now, I will say, it doesn't seem like you earn very much money in the quick play events. You may earn a little bit more in the career mode, but usually these mobile games are designed to get people to spend real money on in-game money, and I get that. That's the formula, right? But we're not necessarily looking at that or looking at the idea of the business practices of mobile games, but we're more looking at the at the substance behind the game and just sort of how it plays in general. Now, I've sped up this first part of the video, which was me going through the customization options and customization features and some of the custom parts, and some of them are pretty cool, some of them are a little bit cartoony, and some of them are a little bit over the top, but I sort of went through this list with the idea of like, well, I mean, I might find something cool, and I might, find something ridiculous that you guys may enjoy seeing. Now, the tire selection is actually pretty broad. There's a lot more customization here than I thought there was going to be. And also, you guys will see this more later on in the video, but I'm pretty impressed with the graphics for a mobile game. Now, this was played and recorded on an iPhone 11 Pro, so it may look a little bit different on your device, but even with that being said, from the standpoint of a mobile game in general, it still looks quite good in my opinion and plays very, very well and very smoothly. I never really dealt with any frame rate hangups or any sort of areas of the game where you could see like, oh wow, that is not optimized very well. I never really ran into anything like that. So it was kind of one of those things where I came away with the idea of, wow, this is pretty good, and it runs pretty smooth. Now, control-wise, when you're driving anyway, you have a pretty straightforward idea. You have your gas, brake, and then on the right, and then left and right arrows on the left. That's the basic configuration it comes with. And by the way, if you go all the way up through the engines list, you can eventually get like a 9.4 liter V8. Now, it's very expensive, but it's there. The capacity to go crazy is definitely there in this game. And you also get this massive color wheel with all these different color options. However, it was like $4,000 something to paint the truck. And as you can see, I didn't actually have that right off the bat in this video. But even with the, the cool thing about it is that they allow you to see all the different customization options. They don't limit you from seeing them, and I feel like that's a lot of mobile games make the mistake of not letting you see the customization options right off the bat. They just force you to buy them before they'll let you see them, and I feel like that's a big mistake, whereas this actually lets you see them before you decide, well, do I actually want to spend my money on that or not? But with that being said, when you're first dropped into a freestyle environment, a freestyle arena, basically all you're doing is you're going against 11 other trucks in a battle for the most points. Now, one of the cool things is what you're seeing right now, they have actual terrain deformation of the mud. Now, it's not quite Mud Runner level or Spin Tires level, but it's very, very good. And in terms of a mobile game, I'm honestly really impressed with it. Now, as you can also see, you get more and more and more points and a higher multiplier for completing, not necessarily, I almost said completing tasks, but that's not what that's not what we're going for here, but more like chaining different stunts and combos together, which involve jumping, wheeling, smashing through those camper trailers, hitting these mud bogs, which the further you go in the mud bog, the more points you get. The deeper you go in the mud bog, the more points you get. I did run into a couple of scenarios where the points took a long time to catch up with me, like right here, for example. Like, we're super deep, and it basically didn't even start scoring me until, like, down here. And then it was like, oh, by the way, you're already at 70 plus feet, and then it ended up being like 100 and, I don't even know, like 132 feet, which was not bad for my very first time jumping into the game, I felt like. Now, I'm sure there are active players of this game out there that would look at a score like that and go, huh, peasant. But you know what? I mean, yes, yes, I may be a total noob to this game, but I gotta admit, I had a lot of fun with it. And when you compare it to different offerings like, for example, Off-Road Outlaws or Gigabit Off-Road, this sort of tackles a different area of that market, I feel like. You know, they don't really go after the whole mud bogging thing. I mean, they both sort of do it, and they both sort of do it, but they don't do it from the standpoint that this game takes, which those games are a lot more based on large, wide, you know, open world environments. Whereas this game is a little bit more based around the arena gameplay sort of mindset, where you're obviously going to be a little bit more constrained in an environment with walls, but you still have a lot of engaging gameplay to kind of get your hands on if you so please. Now, if you're a big fan of open world gameplay, then this game will probably lack a little bit. But if you can get past the fact that it doesn't have like open world gameplay, then at least it's one of those things where the customization sort of makes up for it, and the gameplay actually makes up for it too. I mean, I enjoy the physics. I mean, sure, they're a little bit arcadey, but I enjoyed them, and I thought that they were actually pretty engaging for a game that you could, like, you know, for a game that you could play while you're waiting at the airport, or, you know, I don't know, waiting at the DMV or something. But this was what they call a circuit race. I use that term lightly. I put air quotes with that, air quotes circuit race, because basically what happens is you start in one direction and someone else starts going the other direction, and you basically run the same route. The only problem with that is that you tend to meet in the middle, and there's actually, if you see up there on the top left, you can see your position, but you can also see the distance between you and your opponent. And as you can see right here, sometimes you meet in the middle, which I wasn't really expecting, and I tried to back up, and I ended up on his roof, and he carried me for a while, for a ways, and I was like, I don't even know what just happened, but I've got to get out of here if I even want any remote chance of winning. Sadly, I didn't win this one, but the recipe to winning a circuit race in this game is to basically not land on your opponent's roof and get carried really, really far away from your objective by your opponent, because if they do that, they will win, as they did in this instance. So, with that being said, I think the circuit racing kind of game type is actually pretty fun, but also you could see if you lose an event, you get like nothing. I mean, and also, I mean, even if you win, you have to play a lot. Like, if you're trying to, I would not suggest trying to use these quick events to earn money, because it's not a worthwhile way to make money in this game. Now, the mud bogging mode is interesting because it's almost similar to if you've ever played a game that's based around, like, for example, a good example is the PC game Pure Rock Crawling, where you have different gates that you have to go through on a rock crawling course. This is pretty similar to that, but instead of a rock crawling course, you're dealing with a mud bogging course. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not quite sure how I feel about the mode. I have to try out the different modes like drag racing and stuff like that to sort of give a better informed opinion. But from my time that I spent with it, I mean, it really does put an emphasis on being at least a little bit precise, which is not something that you always find in the mud bog, in like the mud bogging environment, or at least the video game mud bogging environment, because usually mud bogging in a video game is represented by, like, hey, here's some mud, floor it. But this actually adds a little bit of precision into the idea of mud bogging, which is kind of a nice touch, and I enjoy it. And I think looking at this game now, especially, like, even when I look at it back, while I'm commentating this footage, I look at the game and I go, wow, those graphics are not bad. Like, for a dedicated, like, mobile game, these graphics are not bad at all. And I really wanted to get a true taste of what it was like on mobile, and that's why I played it on my phone and not necessarily on BlueStacks or a, you know, PC-based emulator or something like that. I wanted to have the experience of playing it on a phone as most people would, and I feel like that's the most correct way to enjoy a game like this. And it's definitely worth being enjoyed, I think. If you want to, you know, if you want something that's an off-road based game, especially if you like the mud stuff, this is definitely a worthwhile one to look at. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the physics, I enjoyed the graphics, I enjoyed the gameplay, and it's definitely a game that I will be going back to in my own spare time, and a game that I would be happy to share more with you guys on the channel should you all be interested in that. Now, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below on what you think of this game, how it looks to you, if you play it, if you don't play it, if you would like to see more of it, if you would not like to see more of it. Leave those thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, because I always love reading all of them, and I love getting an idea of what you guys are, you know, what you guys are thinking and how you guys are feeling about different types of games and different pieces of content that we post here on the channel. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Trucks Off-Road. Those are my first impressions, and I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, click that notification button, and I will see you all in the next one. Talk to you guys later.